Everyone who's ever played guitar knows the best way to learn is to stockpile a bunch of riffs and never actually learn how to play an entire song. So in that spirit, we're learning 5 alternative guitar riffs that'll make you a better player. Alright? So the first one is going to sound like this. See if you can guess the artist before I tell you, but it's an awesome song. Song called Brazil by Declan McKenna. Really fun one to play. Super simple, but it kind of gets you sliding around all over the place. And just super fun riff to play. So we're going to start out on the 9th fret of the G string actually. So and we're going to go just straight down to the B string. So 9G, 9B, 9G. And then we're just going to change that G string note from 9 to 8. So 9, 9, 9, 8, 9, 8. And then the fun part, okay? So after you get maybe your pointer finger on 8 to G, the fun thing to do is just take your middle finger, swing it to the D string 9th fret, and then slide it 2 frets higher. And then your pointer finger is going to slide with you to get to the B string 10th fret. Okay, so then we have these kind of cool little, like, you know, bluesy-ish. After you get that 11D, 10B, 10, 11D, then slide back, and then it's just the 9th fret on both of them, right? So D, B, D, B. Super fun song to play, and it kind of gets you, it really helps you with your form, especially kind of like going back through. Just a great way to practice sliding in between shapes. Again, super great song if you've never heard it. Brazil, Declan McKenna. By the way, today's video is sponsored by Sweetwater. I'm using the Line 6 Catalyst amp. Really cool sounding amp. And it's like such a good price. It's kind of insane how everything is so much more expensive now in the world. But some of like the feature-packed combo solid state amps are really just better value than ever. One thing that I like is the clean channels on this sound really cool. This is on the boutique one. I'll do the straight up clean one here with a little bit of drive on it. But I'm going to use this for the second riff that we're going to do. Just a little bit of drive. I'm going to put my pickup selector in the middle. And we're going to do, let's see if you know this one. Okay, so this is a Vampire Weekend song called A-Punk. Really cool way just to use kind of triads up the neck, and just kind of a fun way to isolate maybe just 2 strings at a time, the high B and E strings, all right? So all this is going to come from a D major shape, but we're going to play the other major chords, which would be right here, A and G, but we just need the top half of that shape. So it's your pointer finger on 9 on the E string, middle finger 10 on the B string. Okay, so like this. And then you're going to add your pinky to 12 on the E string. So I'm just going down, up, then the same thing 2 frets back. And then we're going to go all the way to where the D major chord would be. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. In fact, I want to put it on the bridge actually. Okay, so here's what we're doing. Now, I've heard it a couple different ways where you can actually go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so like that. And then after that, we're gonna go to this. So the next form is going to be 5E and 7B. And from here we're going to slide back to 5 and 5 with your ring finger and your pinky. And then that kind of lines your pointer finger and middle finger up. Okay, Vampire Weekend. Awesome, kind of a slept-on guitar band, honestly, if you ask me. But again, it's really cool because you kind of just get these, two-note dyad representations of major chords with a little inflection, and you get that slide. And it also kind of just teaches you the fretboard a little bit. I'm actually doing this with my pointer finger and then just holding the G string so it doesn't vibrate. But you can do it however you want. In fact, this part, instead of going to the D all the way up here, you can play it here, like this, on the G and the B string. But then what you miss out on is that slide. Okay, so again, super fun song to play, really easy to do, easy to get under your fingers. And again, sounds great through this Catalyst Line 6 amp that Sweetwater sent me. Give it up for Sweetwater, really helps me out if you click on that Sweetwater link and get anything. It doesn't even have to be just this, the affiliate thing lasts for anything you might find on their website, but again, huge fan of Sweetwater. They sponsor a ton of videos. But let's get on to the next actual song. Let's see if you know this one. Okay, so this is a Deathcab for Cutie song called Title and Registration. Now, a lot of times it plays with the capo because it's a little bit easier, but I want to do it in the non-capo version because it's just a different way of seeing the riff. And I'm actually playing it a little steadier than, the original version goes to keep timing better, right? So I think this is a great way to kind of keep a very steady time to practice it in a way that sounds almost exactly like the original riff. But I'm sliding into the 9th fret of the A string, right? And then I'm really kind of pedaling, almost going back and forth between really just the 9th fret and the 7th fret of the D string. So I've got... Then I'm going to go to the 9th fret of the D string, back to the A string. And again, I'm always going back in between. You can hear it. Like that, back and forth, right? So again, even though in the original version of listening to it, it might sound more like... I think having that kind of back and forth, if you're just practicing something by itself, is really going to help you lock in with your timing, unless you're using like a metronome or a drum track or something like that. But that's why we're going back and forth every single beat, right? So this note right here, 9A, is going to be every other note the way we're playing it at the beginning, right? So I'm just going to tell you the notes that we're alternating between. 7, 7, 9, 11, 9, 7. Okay? So really, we're just going back and forth, and that's a great way to kind of memorize this riff. And then now we're going to do the same thing, but now we're going to change our alternating go-to note to 7 on the A string. See, I'm doing the exact same thing. Everything has stayed the same except I changed my root note. Another really great way to do this exercise is kind of get that stretch in. See, so that's another benefit from learning it this way instead of using a capo, right? So we've got 9th fret on the A string, then the 7th fret, and then we have this big stretch. Okay, so this is going to be like a D major 7, which is going to be a lot easier if the capo is on the 2nd fret because you just play C major 7 where it's just 5A, 4, D. But we're going to hit that root note twice, 5A twice, and then get that chord, and then 5B, 2B, 3B, 2B, 4G, 2G. And then again, you can kind of see where that comes from. That could come from maybe like a minor pentatonic, or a minor scale, something like that. So it's cool because we're working on pedaling, timing, stretching, these big kind of spread out chords, and then a scale shape in at the end. So again, really fun song to play, an incredibly written song off of a great album. And it just sounds awesome, right? So the third one, I want to do one of the cool reverbs on here. I think the different types of reverbs that they have on this amp are the best, so I actually saved one to be very, very aggressive. You can just kind of bank through and save your two main go-to ones. Oh, I love the reverb. It reminds me of the Walrus Audio Slow pedal, which I think was one of the best-selling pedals of all time. But again, again, it's in this. So this is super wet. Not gonna sound like the original because that's not my vibe. If you want to hear the original, go do the original. But we're gonna do a Radiohead song because we would be remiss if we didn't do any Radiohead songs, right? Should I play this with a pick? Let's see if I want to do this. Android, but not the actual riff part, the actual guitar part, chord, melody, whatever you want to call it, I think is like such a great riff-based thing, right? So we're gonna start in line on the 8th fret. Okay, so I've got my bass note is gonna be a C, 8th note on the low E string, and then I'm gonna be picking back and forth between the 8th fret on the B string and the G string, okay? Alright, now I'm so used to playing the song like as a solo acoustic thing, so I'm kind of doing like a strum type. Which I think works for this, but if you want to, you can just isolate the E to G and B and G. But I'm kind of getting like a... See, I'm doing that with my pick. Gives a little more rhythm, gives a little more timing to it. So there's the 8th fret. Same thing, but I'm going to change the bass note to the 6th fret. Same thing. And then now the 8th fret of the A string. Okay, so a lot of these have just kind of like the same thing on top melodically, whereas the bass note is changing, as you've already kind of seen a few times. So then open A6A. Okay? So think of 8E, 6E, 8A, open A, 6A, 3E. Okay? So that's our first part on the C, and then we're going to slide back to the 3rd fret and kind of keep that same form. Alright? And then I'm going back and forth between that bass note and the G and B strings. Now open 1 and then some chords. Okay, so the chord I want you to look at is I'm kind of getting open A, 2D, 3G, and 3B. It sounds so good with the reverb on this. Again, the reverb is by far my favorite part. It comes with a bunch of different types of reverbs, and they kind of kept it simple on the bank up here, where you just hold the reverb selector button, and then the selector switch that usually controls the amp actually can cycle through the reverb. So a lot of cool stuff. Let me know if you're interested in the reverbs. I could do another video going through just like the steps of this amp, but right now I just kind of wanted to showcase some of my favorite alternative rock riffs. So again, there's the first chord, open D to, or open A, 2D, 3G, 3B, and then that's going to go to a D sus2 where it's open D, 2G, 3B, and then now it's just going to be my pinky left on the 3rd fret of the B string. So see how this works. And then at the end it's kind of like that G, G, D, open G string twice, and then 3 on the B string, which is a D note. And then when you play like that, I just think it sounds so cool with like this reverb. And then especially when you get this, make sure you add some vibrato. Really wring that out. Just kind of squeeze out the juice of that chord. Excellent, excellent, amazing song. And then you've got the little bonus riff. 5, 5, 5, 3, A. Back to 5E. So A and C are the notes. A, C, A, G sharp, then C, D. Classic, everybody knows that. So I'm gonna go back to the main clean sound on this to do our 5th alternative rock riff, which, if you know anything about me, you know that I'm gonna use this as an excuse to teach part of an Elliott Smith song because that's my guy. So we're gonna do the riff from, well, you know it. So this is gonna be the riff from Sweet Adeline, okay? And it's gonna keep in the same vein of doing these like descending bass lines that have a same thing that you're kind of playing under. So what I mean by that is, let's break this into real quick parts. So we've got 5, 4, 2, open, all on the D string, okay? I'm playing this with my thumb. And then we're gonna get open B in between. So, see how that works? Then B, 4 D, open B, 2 D, open B, open D, open B. Okay, that's part 1. Then we're gonna switch the note on top and the bass notes. Now we're gonna go. So now 3B is the note on top, and it's 3D, 2D, open D, 3A. Now we're gonna switch the note on top again to 4B, and now we've got 1D, open D, 3A, 1A, C major, 7D chord. So again, 3, 2, open, open, and then slide that down 2 frets. You do that twice, and then it's just a G major chord. Down, up, and then G7. You just really take your ring finger and move it to the 3rd fret of the D string. Sounds better. There it is. Yeah, so Sweet Adeline, such a great song, right? And just like low-key, like a great fingerstyle song. If you want to, you can actually use, something I'll do a lot is I'll put my palm here and kind of mute the whole thing. Because it kind of keeps it down. And again, my favorite part about this amp is the reverbs sound so good for a solid state amp. As you can kind of tell, there's just a lot of different stuff to choose from. So anyways, those are 5 alternative rock amps that I think will make you a better player today, that you could learn today in one day. Love it. Thank you to Sweetwater for sending over the amp, sponsoring the video. If you guys have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comment section on Instagram or the website, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thank you.